Hi, I'm Mr. Miyagi and this is Mr. Miyagi's Workshop. Well, for the last couple of days I've been back on the CB350 and I've gotten stuff installed like the coils, the horn, the ignition switch, working on the battery box, and then I have a mess of wiring that I've got to straighten out up here. I've also gotten the handlebar, front brake, throttle, all that hooked up, clutch and the other controls. So I know a lot of you guys like to hide all this stuff, but I put on here, since I'm going to be selling this bike, I put on some easy start stuff like the electric start. This is a switch for turning the headlight on and off for starting. We have an on-off switch up here. And then we also have a control over there for the high-low beam and turn signals and horns. So do all that up inside this headlight bucket here, and we'll get all that straightened around. So let's get to it. So you can see the bit of wiring that I've got to straighten out in here. I've got it marked where it goes, and these lines are going to get cut back a little bit. This is like the turn signal wires. That's a grounding area there. I've got other wires coming up. This is the power for the ignition stuff. You know, just odds and ends. I did get up, hook up the tail light. Let me show you the electrical box. So this is what I got going down inside here. I put in a fuse box in there. Now this, all this controls is the power to the switch, and then I have a little plug-in, battery plug-in here. I've got it hooked up on this one, but I'm going to end up marking these wires after oh yeah, this one here is for the charging unit for outside. And then this one runs forward for an extra little power up north there. And then this runs to the ignition switch right here. And then all that'll leave me with an open fuse area there where I could put a spare fuse or whatever. And then I still have to run a ground, and I'm going to run the ground up to the engine somewhere so I get a good solid ground. But I've got the main set up with the wiring to the solenoid right here, and this is all taken care of. And then this plug-in here is for when I have for the seat, because I have the tail light on the end of the seat, so this will be easy to take apart and unplug when I have to pull the seat. So as you can see, I've got quite a mess right here, so I've got to straighten that out. And I'm going to try some new adapters. Show you this right here. These little units right here, they're connectors, and they're little tab connectors. You can flip these up, and then your wiring goes inside those holes, and then you just close down and it locks them. I'm going to try these out. I picked these up at Harbor Freight. I thought they were kind of cool. And then it would make it easier if I have to pull something out or whatever. You just, you know, raise up the little flipper there and you can pull the wire. So let's see what happens. Well, believe it or not, I got all that wiring straightened around. These little connectors actually work fairly well. One thing I did find out, if you put a little solder on the ends of the wire that you've cleaned off, it holds a little bit better. And now all I got to do is hook up the headlight stuff here, and the headlight gets to go on. Okay, I'll show you the stage of the wiring we're at. Key on here, we got we're able to use the start, horn works. We got lights, we got turn signals, we got a tail light, and a stoplight, turn signals. Yeah. Turn this off here. All different little switches and stuff. So it's pretty much wired up. So I got this quick breakaway set up here. It'll come apart. And here's the wiring and everything down inside there. So this is all pretty much done here on this. So now I got to work on is doing the exhaust pipes here. We're going to wrap those and get those on and set up. All right, so I got one pipe wrapped, exhaust pipe wrapped here and installed on the bike. We'll go over to the bench there and I'll show you how I did the wrap. Okay, before we start wrapping here, you definitely want to put on some gloves, because this is fiberglass and it is a bit itchy on your skin. One of the major things you need to do is you need to soak this in water, and I'll just put it right in there. Don't need a lot, you just need to get it wet. What I normally do is I like to mark the halves on the pipes here. And one of the reasons why I do that is this is where you want to start your wrap from. Trying to put these on with wrap just doesn't work. So once you got your area marked off there, you want to take this wrap which you've soaked, and let's get it on here. You kind of work it around, and you want to hold this in place. Now the way I hold it in place, it does come with these metal bands, but I like to start out when I'm doing this, I use just some regular wire ties. So I get this wrapped up around there. And you want to try to get this as tight as possible. So now I'll take one of my regular plastic wire ties and put it on there. And all this is going to do is just hold it while I'm working on this. So now you just kind of want to start out and get your wrap over a little bit. And you're going to have to kind of figure this out as you go. It's just wrapping it around and making sure it's good and tight. You can see it goes fairly fast. Just kind of keep rolling it around there. And soaking it tends to make this a little bit more pliable, but make sure you get it on there good and tight. And you're offsetting this a little bit. I've got like about a 3/8, quarter to 3/8 lip over on itself. Sometimes you're going to have to go a little tighter. Okay, I've got this all the way wrapped around on here. And now I'm just going to cut this right here where I want to stop, and I take the material and roll it back on itself so it ends up nicely. Take our little wedge, our little wire clamp here. You just shove those in, and then I'll grab my needle nose and pull on it, and then bend over on it. And then we can take our cutters, cut it off, and we'll do another one. Just want to make sure that it's on there good and solid. And cut it off. So where we started off on the head pipe here, we can put one of these on. I like to pull on those little, it helps snug them down. And if you can roll them a little bit, just to get them a little tighter. I've never had these loosen up, but you never know. So now what we want to do is we want to cut this regular wire tie off, and then we'll put one more on here of these. So they just slide in and pull, and then I just bend them over on themselves and then cut them off. Make sure they're down on it. So there, wrapped exhaust. And then you got leftover pieces here. So I've wrapped pipes before, so I have a lot of this extra left over here. But one roll of this is a 2-inch with 50 foot long, and with the stainless ties. And then they come with when you buy it. So this is what I picked up here. I wanted to show you here how I've got this clamped in the vise. I use one of these chain style clamps. Grab one here. So that's basically all it is right here, is one of these vise grips, and then I just clamped it in the vise there, which, you know, it's fairly good sturdy there. It holds everything in place, so you can do your wrapping. And actually you could get some of these if you need to weld these pipes together. So let's go over and install this on the bike. Okay, so I got the exhaust pipe here all set to go on, and the lockdown for it. So we're going to put the two halves in, and they, you know, just slide up in there. But you can see that there's not a lot of space there if I was to have wrapped all the way up in there. So it works better to step that off just a hair. You got to work past those little stainless steel clips a bit. All right. So that's all in place and ready to rock and roll. Now these will smoke a bit on the first startup. That's just the nature of the beast on these, so be aware of that. So when you start it up, make sure you're outside. But other than that, these are, yeah, there we go. Retighten this again. I'm going to go through and then tighten it a couple of times. I'm also going to build a clamp for underneath here to hold it up against the frame a little better. So what I did here underneath is I just used some hose clamps to this crossbar here for the foot pegs, and wrapped it around the pipes, and it's super sturdy. Plus I wanted to make room for that drain plug right here. Where is it? Right there. So I could drain the oil when I need to. So I think I'm going to end the video right here, and next week we'll finish off the tank. I have some knee pads and some decals to do on that. I want to make the seat. I've got the material and everything for that, and I'll show you how I do that. And we'll get this all mounted up, and then hopefully we'll start it up and see how it all sounds and runs. So if there's any comments or questions, you can put them in the comment section below, or you can send them to my email address at tmiyagi@hotmail.com. And if you have liked this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget that ringy-dingy button over there for the next episode coming up. So this is Mr. Miyagi saying, you be safe out there and hope to see you on the road. Ciao.